hello, my loves. I'll tell you the one place that introverts should be at home is the one place that they feel like they are not home, and that's online. You see, online, we're not surrounded by people. It is a screen that we get to close and walk away from and recharge. Yet we still have this push, this like shove, like, but you must be crazier. No, go do that TikTok dance. Oh, no, 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 no. You need to be loud and do something absolutely insane in a Facebook Live just so people can catch attention. You need to go viral. I think the key word there is viral, is this hunt for virality that everyone's off. But, let's say you do that crazy TikTok dance. Let's say you do something absolutely insane and you go viral. Is that gonna attract your people to you? Is that gonna attract people that want to work with you? Is that gonna attract people that make you feel comfortable at home, happy, joy? Honestly, probably not, because it's not who you are. I know, if you've listened to this, I'm this huge proponent of authenticity. That's authenticity at home, that's authenticity at work, that's in your life, with your family, and online. So I figured, what? I need to get someone who's also an introvert, who gets the online space similar to how I do, because we need to kind of make this figure out what we need. And there's this one magical world in social media and advertising and business, and it's called copywriting. If you can write a good copy, if you can do a good sales page, if you can do a good ad page, if you can use the right words and the right tones, you can convert a lot of people, especially for business, especially. And even if you're not in business, let's say you're listening to this and you're like, "But I don't have a business." Having a good copy can help you when you're trying to get your kids' Girl Scout cookies sold. It can help you when you're trying to do a fundraiser. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to get people to support this nonprofit. I want them to support philanthropy. We know Facebook's good at that nonprofit thing. So knowing about copy is important for everyone because it's how you present it and it's how you choose to present yourself. So today I have Kristen. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, I'm so excited to be talking with you today.
Well, we were chatting a little bit and you're like, and it's like, I'm an introvert. And it's like, it's like, no, we don't have to change to be successful. What got you into this line of work? What took you down this journey?
Well, I mean, I've had several iterations to my journey, but the latest one was I was working in operations in the back end of businesses. So one of the common terms in the online space is a director of operations or an integrator, and you're running the back end of their processes, their projects, their teams. And one of the things that I was noticing when working with people, and when I was doing some consulting and working with other, mainly women, was that a lot of times when it came to trying to promote themselves online or promote their event, they really got stuck. And, I'd say, okay, what's going on here? What's happening? And 9 times out of 10, they did not feel aligned with what it is that they were trying to do. So either they didn't feel aligned with the marketing strategy, or they just didn't feel like it was something that they wanted to do, like you were saying, like TikTok or Reels or standing there and pointing at all the different things. And I'm like, I get it. You won't see many Reels on my Instagram. And in fact, I'm not very active on Instagram for that very reason, that it's not a platform that I'm comfortable with as an introvert, or the algorithm doesn't favor me as an introvert because I don't want to do all of the fancy things that, are being asked to do. And so that's when I really kind of shifted into supporting online business owners in figuring out how to find their voice and how to write copy in a way that does feel aligned with them. Because here's the thing, if you imitate somebody else's voice and you show up, trying to be somebody else, your audience can see that. They can feel that your energy is off, right? And you're going to you're going to convert less people because they're sensing something's off about you, but they don't know what it is. And there's nothing shady about you except that you're trying to present yourself to be more extroverted than you actually are. Um, and then the second piece of that is you'll be so exhausted by that process that you won't actually be able to serve the people that you actually want to serve because you've given all of your energy to trying to be somebody who you're not.
Oh my God. No, I'm gonna really pick on that exhaustion because I did that. I'm going to be honest. I have been an entrepreneur now for 8 years. And for the first few years, it's like I saw all these people that were jumping around like, "Whoa!" And I was like, trash. My soul felt that. It was like, oh my gosh, I could sleep for 20 hours after everything I did because I was so exhausted. It was insane. And we have to bear it. So introverts can do extroverted things, how we recharge. But if we're doing extroverted things that are not aligned with who we are as a person, that quadruples that recharge time. It really impacts us. So like you say, you're not on Instagram very much because it's not a place where you're totally at home. Is it okay for people to pick and choose what platforms that they decide to represent themselves on?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your clients are everywhere. And I hear this all the time from people. It's like, I don't know if my clients are on that platform. Well, there's going to be a platform that your clients are more comfortable with, but your clients are everywhere. They're on every platform looking for different things. And you can use the platform. Like I still am on Instagram, but I don't prioritize reels and lives and content like that that really stresses me out and makes me feel like I have to give way too much energy. I prioritize quieter things like engaging with other people's content, and trying to create relationships in that sense of, maybe slipping into somebody's DMs to say, hey, I really appreciated this post that you put out there. It really spoke to me and that kind of stuff. So I will utilize, a noisy platform in a way that's more comfortable for my personality rather than trying to fit the mold of this is what everyone says you need to do for Instagram marketing today. So I guess I better just pull up my socks and do it. I try and find a way that feels in alignment with me that will help me to really meet the goals that I have, which for me is to actually create relationships with people rather than gain more followers. And so that's how I use the platform. But no matter what platform is out there, you can find a way to use it in a way that does feel completely aligned with your personality.
So I like that it's you can do it to create relationships. And that is, I think, a really misunderstood about thing about introverts. They think we want to be alone all the time. That we don't want to talk to people, that we're shy, we don't want to build the relationships. And that is a key component to online success is actually the relationship building. And that equates into that long-term client, that long-term customer that makes the huge difference. Now, you transitioned to more copywriting because you saw that there was a need. People didn't feel aligned. People weren't feeling comfortable with what they're posting because they were copy paste. It's like that copy paste thing that everyone's, oh, just copy this and it will work. And you see it all the time. I see, and not only do you copy paste things for business, but I see just regular individuals, they copy paste. I got told to copy paste this so Facebook doesn't make my personal information public in 3 days. And copy paste is just a pandemic in itself.
Yeah.
When you have someone that's like, but I've always just copied what other people do. I always just try and model myself after X person. They wrote this, so I wrote that. How do you help them discover what their voice is for their what is it? What kind of journey do you take them on?
Yeah, I love this question. And I actually have a blog post that talks about why I think templates actually harm your brand versus build your brand. And it gets into just that, right? When we get into that copy paste mentality, we're not using our voice and then we're not going to be able to connect with our audience in that way, right? They almost feel like it's a bait and switch. This is the way that you've presented yourself online and then I actually work with you and you're a completely different person. Like what's going on there? And it actually creates distrust of you and your brand, particularly in the online space where we rely a lot on reputation and on how we present ourselves on, through copy on certain platforms. So the first thing I get everybody I work with to do is to really get back in touch with their values. So when you start in the online space, if you work with any kind of business coach or you take any kind of programs, one of the first exercises they have you go through is to discover your why, to figure out what your values are, and really kind of get back there. And we do that exercise and we often set it aside and then move on to the money making pieces. But when you reconnect with your values, they always help you figure out how it is you can stand out in that online space by taking a quieter stance on something. So, your values help you know where you stand on particular issues. They help you know what kinds of conversations you're going to engage in and what kinds of conversations you're going to leave to others to respond. Um, they help you figure out how to respond to customer service requests, how to manage your team difficulties. It's really at the core of everything you do in your business, including finding what your voice is online. And so, as a consumer, we are often looking for people who share the same values as us, right? And our clients are too. They want to know that the people that they're working with, are fundamentally aligned with what their core deep beliefs are. And so when your values align with your potential clients and they know that you kind of have that same viewpoint on things, all of a sudden the other online noise falls away, right? And they want to know more about you, your approach, how you can help them because they feel that deeper connection to you. And, all of a sudden you can have a complete stranger on the internet that you've never met before feel like they know you a little bit better because you have owned and shared your personal values with your audience online. And this can be through graphics, it can be through copy, it can be just through the word choice or the language that you use that might differentiate you from somebody else in that space as well.
So I'm gonna bring up one of my pet peeves for the online space. Okay, I wanna know your and I think this is why a lot of people struggle to be successful online. And I call it the highlight reel.
Mhm.
You look at somebody like, oh my gosh, they've got it all together. They're so perfect. Look out. Oh my gosh, that Instagram worthy breakfast. Do they really have that perfect white background with those kids in all dressed in cream colored clothes and they stay immaculate? You know what I'm talking about with the highlight reel. And there's this pressure for everyone to have a highlight reel. How do you feel about the highlight?
So, in addition to being an introvert, I am also a perfectionist or an Enneagram 1 for the people who follow the Enneagram. And so this is something I personally struggle with because I really want to appear to have it all together all the time. And this is something I work on regularly. So, this is going to be one of those things of do what I say, not what I do because I am working on what I'm doing to reflect that, but I really struggle to be vulnerable. Now, if that's something that you don't struggle with as much, I highly recommend that you be a little bit more vulnerable with your audience in the sense of letting them know when you're having an off day, letting them know that maybe you've got it all together when it comes to this thing, but this other part of your life isn't so perfect. Like, yep, I'm a fantastic copywriter, but guess what? Like, my kids, they've got grass stains on their clothes and whatever else. And I'm okay with that, and letting them see that you have this area of expertise, but that doesn't mean that every aspect of your life is wonderful and perfect all the time. Because again, I will unfollow those people just because I'm like, oh great, must be nice to be perfect all the time. Swipe. I'm looking for someone else, not someone who's like a total hot mess, but someone else who's real, right? Um, and I think we use the word authenticity in the online space, but that definition differs depending on who you're talking about. But at the core of it, like stop putting filters in there, stop taking 30 shots to get the one image that's going to go on your screen. Like just take the picture. If your eyes are open and you're looking at the screen, put it up there, be real, and really kind of just work on engaging with people because right now, especially in like post pandemic where we've all been so isolated from everybody else, we want real human connection, not perfectly polished magazine worthy shots of you out there on social media.
Yeah, it's just one of those things I see and it's like everyone's like, "But no, I have to line my breakfast up with my cup and my spoon," and it's just like, "No, you don't have to be perfect." And it's something that a lot of people they want to set the pandemic has created this surge of entrepreneurship, I go,
Mhm,
because they got frustrated. Let's be honest, people got frustrated. They got frustrated with being bored because they all of a sudden 2 hours of their day became available because they didn't have a commute. And they also realized that they liked being home. So they were trying to come up with things to help them be at home.
mhm,
And it's this huge struggle with people. Like, the curated content, the highlight reels, the perfectionism. And this is something that a lot of people, I'll launch when I'm perfect.
Mhm.
I'll start when I've got it together. One more certification. No, one more photo shoot. One more test. Oh, no, one more class, one more webinar. And that one more just becomes insane. And just, you could probably hear my kids in the background. This is an idea of not being perfect because a year ago, I would have been like, "Oh, no, 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 we have to reshoot the entire thing," because you could probably hear my kids going, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." What would you say to those people? They say they wanna get started, they wanna do things, they wanna bring someone on like a copywriter, they wanna get us, they're not ready yet because they have to do one more class, one more certification, one more this, one more that, one more client.
I say I feel you. I feel you to my very core. And it's time to take action, which is what I've been really focusing on this year is just getting out there, taking action, you know, just one little step. You don't have to like go from 0 to 60, right? But just start taking that next step, whether it is reaching out and connecting with someone online, whether it is actually admitting that you need to bring some support into your business, whether that is taking the risk and doing something on video versus just a written piece. Whatever that next step is for you to kind of start to get you closer, take that step and then take the next one and then take the next one. And eventually you'll get to that place. But if you don't take any steps at all, you're going to stay stuck in that place for a very long time.
Oh, yeah. Now we're going so this one more step, because I saw you laughing when I said it said one more certification. I guess I hit a nerve there, didn't I?
Oh god, yes. I I am a certification chaser, actually. I went through and I have a master's in sociology, and I was debating to get my PhD or not, but it meant I had to leave the city, and I didn't wanna do the commute and all that kind of stuff. So that's the only thing that stopped me from that. But when I jumped into the online space, I have actually spent more in online courses than I have in my university education because I was chasing courses and certifications and what have you, and that's why I got certified as a director of operations, and, I'm taking currently 2 copywriting courses just to be able to get the label or the certification even though I already write copy for people, like, I, to my very core, feel that, and that is part of I think it's part of a bigger cultural issue, particularly for women, where we feel this not enoughness. It's in so many messages that we've received growing up, and I'm in the process of unlearning. But as I'm in that process of unlearning, I still find myself chasing certifications for approval, right? For that feeling of enoughness to move forward. But I don't have those copywriting courses completed yet. And I'm still a copywriter, and I still charge people to write their sales copy, and I am moving forward. My prices might shift later on down the road, and that's okay, but for now, I'm still taking the steps to build that business while I chase that certification.
I think it's an interesting point that you've brought up, that it's also women are told they're not enough, so we have to have the credentials. I also think as introverts, I may not be loud, but look how qualified I am.
Mhm.
It's like our fallback, because there's this whole thing like introverts, they're the quiet, nerdy ones. They're the teacher's pet, the ones that did well in school, the ones that had high grades, the smart kid. It's like the introverts going to the smarter, field. They become accountants, they become philosophers. It's this one more insanity that, but I need to be better. I need to prove my worth. So here's a tool that people could definitely put in their tube. You don't have to prove your worth. You are already worthy. You are already amazing. You are already somebody that has something to offer. If you want to do the courses, do the courses. If you want to do the classes, do the classes. But don't do them because you feel like you have to in order to become who you need to be. That's just not how it is.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Um, One of the things I often think of myself as I'm working through this is, I don't need to be perfect to be able to help somebody, right? If my best friend came to me with a problem that I had a solution to, I wouldn't hesitate. to have a conversation with her about that. And yet online, we have this idea of until we have our message dialed in perfectly, until we have this done just right, then we're not capable or worthy or enough to put that out there in the online space. And that's not the case because every single thing you put out there, every video, every piece of content that you write, whatever it is, has the capacity to help one person even. And chances are going to help more than one person. But if spending 15 minutes doing this conversation helps one person, then oh my goodness, it's worth it. I don't need to have everything all together, put together, scripted out. We can have a real, genuine conversation. And so I think, you know, you don't have to have your message dialed in perfectly. Just get out there and start talking about things over and over and over again. And your message will come together because you'll start to hear feedback from people and they'll resonate with certain things. But in that process, you're helping people along the way. It doesn't need to be perfect. You get to help people along the way as you're working on refining things and getting it more towards what you might consider to be acceptable.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. And this is where a lot of people they get hung up is that they have to be the one to dial it in. They have to be the one to work the message. They have to do it all themselves. But it's okay to bring an expert in. I think one of the best things I ever learned was if you don't like doing something, don't do it and pay someone else to do it for you.
Mhm.
Because if you don't like things, you're going to be miserable. It's going to take you twice as long because you will procrastinate. It's like the laundry. How many people really and truly enjoy doing laundry? And you see all these jokes about, oh, reminder, whoever needs to remember that they need to go rerun the washer again, go ahead, go do it. Because we hate doing it. So we procrastinate. We come up with reasons not to do it. And if you're in business, when you're procrastinating on certain areas of your business, you're actually hurting your own growth.
Mhm.
So, like for me, I actually have virtual assistants that handle things that I don't like to do. I don't like creating graphics. I am not creative. I just talk because I like to feel what people are feeling and work with them more on an empathic level.
Mhm.
But sitting there and going, oh, well, hang on, how would I word this? How would I post this? What picture would I use? It takes me hours. So I'm like, okay, here you go. Here's this interview. Go make graphics. Go make it pretty. Go do all that. And I'd sit back because I'd let them do it.
Yep. Yeah, I hear you. So for me, it's bookkeeping and anything like data and analytical, right? I'm like, so my assistants, I have a bookkeeper separately, but then my assistant, I'm like, go track these metrics, go here, pull this, do that, and then just send me the report at the end of the month. Like, I don't want to do all of those little pieces.
Yeah. And you see, a lot of introverts, their biggest issue is they don't want to feel salesy or
Mhm.
pushy or because they often say that sales, oh no, I don't want to be the used car sales. Okay, I have a news flash for everyone, and you may not realize this, but whether you want to be or not, you are a salesperson every single day of your life. Everyone is. It's just there is the salespeople that like push and push and push. But did you ever recommend your bookkeeper to someone? They're like, oh my gosh, I hate doing my books. Oh, I have the great bookkeeper for you. But you just sold your bookkeeper.
Mhm.
Did you? Coke just came out with a new drink. I tried it. It was like, no, just no. Did I post it? Yes. Was I a salesperson against that? Yeah, I was. And we have to bring things authentically. So if you're struggling with sales, one of the best things that I've ever learned, you can bring a copywriter, but you bring someone in who's willing to take the time to learn your voice, to do it in an authentic manner. Because if all of a sudden I posted, buy my course, just this much, you're gonna look and go, what? What the heck is that? So as you come in as people copywriters, how do you get to know their voice? How do you get to know what's gonna resonate with their audience?
So I have my own process, and I'm assuming many other copywriters have a very similar process. But the first thing I do, my clients have an extensive pre-work questionnaire, and one of the questions I had in there is, where else can I get familiar with you? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a podcast? Do you have a Facebook group? Right? I want to go and be able to hear them interact and communicate with people either through video or audio for me to be able to see that. And then I'm also scrolling their social accounts to read their captions so I can start to see what kind of vocabulary they use, what is the tone that they use, what's the cadence to their writing, what's the rhythm that's kind of behind it. And then we get on a call, and I do a 90-minute call with every one of my clients, again, so I can hear how they're talking, but also for me to pull out more information about their ideal client. So if they have ideal client interviews that they've done in the past, right? So a lot of people, when they run a course or any kind of program, they'll chat with the people after they finish the program, right? They'll do kind of like a graduation call or a closing call. And if they've done that, I like to listen to some of those calls as well to hear what was the experience of the person in that program. If they haven't done that, I usually ask them to go ahead and pick 3 to 5 people and see if they can grab a few of their past students on the phone and just ask them about a bunch of different things. I have like a whole list of questions I give them. So again, I can start to hear what was it that they really loved? What was it that they didn't like? Maybe what did they think was going to happen that didn't? So we can make sure that the copy going forward rectifies any misconceptions that they had, all of that kind of stuff. So I can really immerse myself in their ideal audience and their tone of voice and then bridge and bring the 2 together as I'm writing in their voice.
Awesome. That's right. That is something that I've not heard from a lot of copywriters. A lot of copywriters spend 15 minutes then just bang out the copy. The fact that you delve in and you really try and work on their clientele and their voice is really beneficial to introverts because we're still experimenting on our voice online. Because we have been told to copy the extroverts for so long. And you probably get a lot more from the call and the clients than you do from seeing what they're posting online, because what they're posting online tends to be this voice they're told to post it. Now, we've got a lot of tools here today already. We've got a lot of tips, a lot of techniques, a lot of things to think about, a lot of things that you need to focus on. If someone was to want to reach out to you, Kristen, how would they do that?
Yeah. So the best place to find me is actually on LinkedIn. Again, that platform is a slower pace. It's a quieter platform. There's less people jumping around. So no surprise that that's my preferred platform to interact with people in the LinkedIn DMs. But the second place you can find me is you can just go to my website, kristenwestcott.com. And I write a blog post each week. So you'll be able to find lots of tips and stuff on, figuring out your voice, figuring out how to write your sales copy, those kinds of things. And if you've decided that, nope, now is the time to bring in somebody else to support me with this. This is one thing I really want to outsource. You'll find information about how to connect with me there to take the next steps to working together.
I love that you've got all these different variety of things to help people who want to try it themselves. But hey, I'm here to support as well. And that education about, in fact, I'm going to post also the link to the blog post that you mentioned earlier on into the show notes. All these links are going to be in the show notes for everyone to click on so that way they can run more. All these links will be in the show notes so you can just click on and find all these details. It has been an absolute pleasure today, Kristen. I learned a lot about you, a lot about copy, a lot about techniques that our introverts can use. So when you're listening to this audience, I want you to put in your comments, whether you put it on the podcast, whether you put it on the YouTube, whether you put it on the social medias. What is one tool that you're going to take from today? What is one thing that made you go, oh, I need to try that? Oh, I never thought of it that way. Let us know in the comments because, the more I know what tools you need, the more I can find people to provide those for you. Kristen, thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it.
And thank you. I love having this kind of conversation to help other introverts realize that they can truly be themselves online.
Yeah, authenticity is key, and we just need more people to say that loud enough that everyone can hear it.
That's right.
Bye. Throughout my loves, and I'll talk to you soon.